Today's guests performed in two completely different sports, gymnastics and soccer, but each accomplished one of the most memorable feats in sports history, individual achievements that brought victories to their teams. One did a spectacular vault in the 1996 Olympics despite having a serious injury, an injured ankle, as a matter of fact, and the other made a clutch penalty kick to give the USA Women a World Cup victory in 1999. They are here together to run the New York City Marathon for ING. It's my pleasure to welcome two women that I have admired for a long, long time, Kerri Strug and Brandi Chastain. Hi.
Hello. Well, hello.
The marathon, first of all, is November 2nd, right?
That's right.
And you're going to be running for children with obesity, is that right?
Basically, Kerri and I are in ING's Run for Something Better program, which is basically a campaign to get kids out and moving and feeling good about health and fitness. We, like you said, we have a crisis, an epidemic really in this country about obesity, and our young kids we're finding younger and younger in the obesity range. And so what Kerri and I are hoping to do along with ING, Run for Something Better in the New York City Marathon, is to get people to come to the website, orangelaces.com/NYC, make a donation of $10, and you get these nice fancy laces that Kerri has in her hand.
Great laces.
You'll definitely be
Great
seen with
laces.
this beautiful orange.
But really what the significance of the donation and going to the website is that you can be a part of something that gets the country moving for the young generation and make a difference.
We understand not everybody's going to run the ING New York City Marathon. 26.2 miles is not for everyone. However, that's what's so great about running is you just need a pair of shoes and some determination and maybe a running group, and you just set your pace. You can take it further each step of the way, and I think Brandi and I know all about goal setting, big and small.
There are differing views about role models in sports. It's almost impossible in your particular cases, in 1996, 1999, with the bad ankle in the second vault, and then your kick with Gao Hong.
That's
was
right.
Nice,
Tim. Way to go. I love it. I love it.
I've done my work. But in your particular cases, there were so many young girls looked up to you, as you did Mary Lou Retton.
Well, I think for me it's an honor to be in that role. I know the impact Mary Lou Retton had on me. I watched her performance at the 1984 Summer Games in Los Angeles, and that's when I decided I want to be an Olympic gold medalist. And it took 12 long years of, hard work and sacrifice, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. And if I just can have half the effect on our youth today that she had on my generation, I'd be extremely proud.
In the Olympics in 1996, it was your second vault. It took, 45 seconds? Your kick took, 45 seconds?
Oh,
and people don't...
Not even close to that.
People don't realize you had reconstructive knee surgery you missed 2 years in 87 and 88.
I've had both ACLs and MCL reconstructed. But, I think that's what Kerri's talking about the journey and the process. And, I think when people see us and we show our medal and we talk about winning gold medals and world championships, but it's the process that it took to get there that I think is really critical. And I'm not here to teach anybody about soccer or maybe even to teach anybody particularly about running. But what I want them to see from Kerri and I is that, we started something, we set a goal, we went through the journey, and we got to the finish line. And she's going to be faster than I am, I know it. She keeps saying her legs are short. I'm not buying it. She's quick as a jackrabbit, I tell you. But really it's about, setting your mind to something. And the values and the things that she said she's learned through gymnastics, I also learned on the soccer field. Everything translates, it transcends the lines of the game. And how to be a good teamwork, how to be a leader, how to be sometimes a support system. You know what it's like to be an athlete. You know what it's like to be on a team. You know that being an ambassador comes with a job. I know Chuck, I know he's a funny guy and people laugh at him, but I think down deep he recognizes the fact that every single person who has the luxury and the fortune of being a professional athlete and being put in the spotlight has some sort of endowment that they need to give back to the youth, because they become you are the popular ones. You are the ones that they see, and you should act accordingly.
Well, Madonna has been called a material girl. We have two material ladies with us today, and we'll talk more about that with Brandi and Kerri right after this. We're obviously back. My guests today are Kerri Strug and Brandi Chastain, whose lasting fame is connected to fabric, an ankle bandage for Kerri, and a sports bra for you. And the name of your book is It's Not About the Bra.
That's right.
I'll never forget that picture.
Well, thank you. That's good.
Well, you were on the cover of Time, Newsweek, and Sports Illustrated in the same week,
yeah,
right?
4 magazines at the same week.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, it was like the title said. You know, actually, when I wrote that book with my co-author Gloria Averbush, and we went to the publisher HarperCollins, they said, "How about this title? It's Not About the Bra." I said, "No, because I don't want people to feel that that moment was actually contrived and it wasn't spontaneous." But the more I thought about it, the more I realized, you know what? It's not about the bra. As Kerri will knows, it's not about that one ankle. It really is about a life spent moving towards that goal.
Yeah.
You know?
I like to say that, you know, what you see on television is kind of like the Olympics or the World Cup, those big competitions. It's like skipping to the last page of a book. The real story is what's led up to it.
I've often thought about gymnastics and the difficulty in gymnastics because there's no ball to concentrate on. What do you concentrate on when you're in a floor exercise?
Well, you're thinking about each skill as it comes, or that's what you should be doing. You know, we have different elements, and you concentrate on each element as it comes up. So on the floor exercise, you're thinking primarily about the tumbling. On the balance beam, you want to stay on the beam, so you're thinking about the technique of being square, and you know, it's only 4 inches, 4 feet off the ground, so you get a little nervous, and the slightest check on your balance, you could fall off. So you really, for me, I had a running tape in my head that I did in the practice gym, and then when I got to the competition, I just kept that mental game going.
And your mental games kept going by dribbling soccer balls up and down Fifth Avenue.
Yeah. I love coming to New York because anywhere on the street I can find a teammate, because, you know, I've got people from all over the world speaking all different languages. I mean, when I was doing the broadcast for the Olympics, we were here in New York. And so in the downtime, I'd take the ball, I'd jog to Central Park, and on the way back I'd come and, I'd put the ball on the ground, and all of a sudden I'd see people just stop, and I'd pass them the ball and they'd pass it back. Next thing I know, I got an Italian, a guy from Trinidad, somebody from Jamaica. I mean, we're all playing together. And to me, this is what sports can do. And I think soccer obviously is a real global sport, but something like ING and New York City Marathon, Run for Something Better, brings people together for a common cause. Being healthy, being fit, challenging yourself, taking those strides to create a better environment. And
I've always heard it's very unusual. In America, we're trained with our hands for the most part, whereas in the rest of the world, they're all trained with their feet.
And I think that's, soccer is underrated for how difficult it is, because the things, like you said, the baseball players, the basketball players, football players, even gymnasts, do with their hands. These players do with their feet, and you have to have not only the agility and the quickness and the stamina that you need in those other sports, but you have to be able to do it with your feet at the same time. Which
is more important to you, Brandi, the gold medal or the World Cup championship? Is that a fair question or no?
I don't. It's apples and oranges, fruit, but different species, so to speak. They're both really, truly near and dear to my heart, and they both hold a special place. And I think this is the difference. The World Cup, only soccer. When 90,000 plus people came to watch the World Cup final in the Rose Bowl.
At the Rose Bowl, yeah.
I mean, you couldn't believe it when you walked out and you looked up. It was stunning. And even just now, I get a visceral reaction to it. I mean, it's such an empowering moment. Knowing that 40 million people or more were watching on television a women's soccer game. I mean, you've done something when that occurs. But then when you're in the presence of Kerri Strug, Michael Phelps, Michael Johnson, Lisa Leslie in women's basketball, women's softball. I mean, in '96 when they won gold medal, we won a gold medal, basketball won a gold medal. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Women in
yeah.
the Olympics.
And so to be in the same breath as those athletes and the other athletes from around the world that were participating in the Olympics and the viewership that it gets, that's pretty spectacular.
Kind of like the viewership of this show.
That's right, exactly.
We'll be back with Brandi and Kerri right after this. I'm back with Kerri Strug and Brandi Chastain, but first, Kerri Strug, the magnificent 7 gymnastics team that won the gold medal in Atlanta in 1996. I mean, what a picture. Nobody will ever forget Bella Caroli carrying you out of the gym that day.
Well, it's special because I'd been through so much with Bella, and looking back, it was great that I could experience that with him because he was the one who got me there up to the top of the medals platform.
He had retired after 92, is that right?
That's right, and then he came back in 95, and so he just trained Dominic Moceanu, my teammate, the little one, and myself. So
The little one.
The
That's
little one.
awesome.
During the break, Brandi asked you if you had a tough time understanding Bella Caroli. I thought Brandi was talking about me. I didn't. Do you have a tough time understanding?
Occasionally, yes. You gather if he's happy or angry with you, and that's all that really matters. So
That's all that really
outstanding.
matters. Happy,
Basically.
angry.
yeah,
no in between.
you better get it together if he's angry, and if he's happy, you're like, enjoy the moment.
Have you thought about coaching gymnastics? or
I
anything?
coach here and there on the side. I think for me, I spent so many years in the gym, it's really important to prove to myself and others I can be successful elsewhere. So I work at the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. I audit programs that receive federal funding fiscally and pragmatically, and that's been really good for me. But on the side, I think once gymnastics is in your blood, it's always in your blood. So I go to different gymnastics camps in the summer and do clinics here and there on the weekends, or sometimes take a day off to be with the youth and try and give them a few pointers here or there. Sometimes it's a little bit different if you say it versus their coach says it. Even if the coach says the exact same thing, they listen a little bit better.
Yeah, it's because you're a gold medalist.
Talking about in your blood, your grandfather on your mother's side and your parents never missed a match, did they?
No, they were relentless in their fandom, so to speak. What it gave us was this idea of team, and I think that was really the lasting impression I got from my father. He coached me until I was in my teenage years, but they went to Sydney, Australia for the Olympic Games. They were, of course, in Atlanta for the first one. They were in China in '91 when we played in the first ever Women's World Cup. I mean, if there was a game, even if it was just a pickup game on Sunday and nobody knew about it, my mom would find a way to get there. And just one, if you don't mind me indulging one story,
Please.
when you're a kid, nobody's on the sideline. It's like the parents and maybe the brothers and the sisters, right? And my mother would come with a megaphone that stood nearly as tall as Kerri, and she would yell from the sideline. It had the team's name down the side, and we were the Horizon. That my dad named us the Horizon because he thought we were so beautiful. Go Perry, go Michelle, go Brandi. She was just a cheerleader. That was actually what she was in high school, and I'd be like, Mom, do you have to use that? I mean, you're only one of 12 on the sideline. She goes, no, everybody loves it. And for as much as embarrassment as I felt when I was a youngster and my mother bringing this megaphone to the field, when it came to '99 for that World Cup game and the final, when the stadium was rocking like nobody's business, I could hear her voice. And having her there was, so incredibly powerful and meaningful for me.
Before your kick, with the score tied 4-4, you have said that this amazing calm came over you.
Yeah.
You weren't psyched out by the goalie at all.
Well, she had psyched me out earlier in the year. We played China in Portugal. We played in a yearly tournament there, and during the run of play, if there was ever a penalty kick, it was my job to take the penalty. So as I put the ball down and I stood up, there stood the goalkeeper, Gao Hong, for China. And this girl is a character, I tell you. You probably know, have characters in gymnastics too, where she looked at me, she smiled, she winked her eye, and I was just like, what's going on? And she totally unnerved me. It was like two boxers, in the middle of the ring before the fight. And so when I stepped back, I was totally out of my element. I was totally shaken. I hit the ball, it hit the crossbar, it goes out. We end up losing the game 2-1. And so as I was approaching this penalty kick, the only thing I could hear, because the stands were totally dead quiet, was, "Don't look at the goalkeeper, don't look at the goalkeeper." And she admitted in an HBO special that we did, Dare to Dream, that she felt she couldn't get on her game because no one would look her in the eye. And she felt that that was a part of her, preparation to get to a ball, make a save. And so luckily nobody looked at her and just, focus on the ball.
The camera's psyching me out. We'll be back with Kerri Strug and Brandi Chastain right after this. Kerri Strug and Brandi Chastain are remembered for their great successes, but most sports fans don't know their earlier struggles and disappointments. And yet you've said that after all these disappointments, when you do it, it feels really, really good. That's understating things, I would think.
Of course. I think oftentimes, your failure kind of pushes you that much more, and it makes the success that much sweeter. For me, I was in Barcelona, and I had all these high, expectations for myself, and I didn't meet them all. So I wanted that, Atlanta that much more. And
you won the bronze in Barcelona, and
yes.
then what were for the novices out there and here? What were the 2 or 3 techniques that you missed? And I don't want to minimize this by saying only winning the bronze. What is the difference between a bronze and a gold, or is that too broad a question?
It can be a lot, or just a minor problem. In the sport of gymnastics, the scoring system has changed quite a bit, and so now you can fall and still win. In '92, that was not possible whatsoever. If you had a minor flaw, that's it. So they're changing it because they want to reward the higher, more difficult skills, and so it's not just about perfection any longer. I like the old scoring system better. I think everybody identifies gymnastics with the perfect 10, but it's not up to me, and this really does show who is performing these higher level skills, and they are rewarded greatly for them.
The perfect 10, the magnificent 7 in '96. Do you still keep in contact with the other 6?
I definitely do. I think we have a bond because of what we accomplished together, but at the same point, it has been 12 years. We're all moving forward, doing different things. Some are still very active in the gymnastics world, whereas others are now mothers, and they're busy with their own lives. But what we accomplished together, is amazing, and nobody can ever take that away from us. And so whenever we come together, we like to reminisce and have a good time. We were just this summer inducted into the Olympic Hall of Fame, and that was a great honor for all of us to come together.
And you and Julie and Mia still see one another?
Absolutely. We're all new mothers.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think we all have kids 2 and younger. So it's all about. I should tell some stories about Mia, but
Mia and Nomar have twins.
They have twins,
right?
and so Mia has some really funny stories about. I would write an email. Oh, I'm so proud of Jaden for doing this this morning for the first time, and Mia would write something just hysterical back, like, "Oh yeah, well Grace, threw dirt today," or something like that. I'll be like, "Yes, Grace, way to go," But no, like Kerri said, we all try to spend time together. We actually had. A big 40th birthday party for Carla Overbeck, where we all surprised her here in New York, and we check in with each other weekly, if not every other day. Christine and I are still hoping to play in the league that's coming up next year, and
what league is that?
The WPS Women's Professional Soccer will be starting again in 7 cities.
It started several years ago,
right?
Right.
The WUSA, Women's United Soccer Association. Unfortunately, we had to fold. I like to call it a sabbatical, but now it's definitely a fold, and now we're beginning again. But we have, I think, a group of investors and players who, and players not only from here but also from abroad, that are going to make this league really exciting. So, we still talk about soccer to some extent, but mostly it's about kids.
And you have a foundation?
I do. I run a nonprofit, Bay Area Women's Sports Initiative. Go to BAWSI.org, pronounced Bossy Girls, that's us, and we're trying to get young girls through 5th grade out there on the playgrounds, moving, understanding that they're in charge of their health and wellness, their confidence, their courage, and asking them to take risks and be better people.
You were nicknamed by your teammates Hollywood.
Yeah,
right?
that's Julie.
What?
She's a goofball.
That was Julie. Were you nicknamed anything by your teammates in '96?
Not that I'm
Awesome.
aware of.
Awesome.
That's what I would say.
I can't thank you enough for being on the show. Thanks.
It's our pleasure.
Well, we appreciate it, and we hope everybody will go to orangelaces.com/NYC and purchase some shoelaces like ours. They're pretty flashy. They're
Push
exciting.
the shoelaces, guys. Brandi Chastain, Kerri Strug have been my guest. I'm Tim McCarver. Thanks for watching. Bravo.